a testament to how you all actually seemed to care about what was going on in one another's lives. So I'm going to reshare this quote before we dive into the 5 principles. I think I shared it in one of our previous coaching calls. It's one of my favorite just philosophies about becoming an entrepreneur and really standing in your belief. So the quote is that the tallest tree always catches the most wind. And the way I see this is that as you start to become more visible as a business owner, as you really start to launch this offer and put it out to the world, you are growing, right? Entrepreneurship and owning a business is really a journey in personal development. The more you develop, the more your business develops. But that also comes with a little bit of visibility, okay? So you're kind of stepping outside your comfort zone with all this growth and this newfound motivation and inspiration that you have. You may start to feel like you are reaching this new level and you're rising maybe above the current circumstances that you're in. And you know that in order to sell your offer and in order to make impact on our world, you do need to show up in a different way. And when you do so, you're often met with resistance, whether that's with family or friends or peers or acquaintances or people you don't even know who want to offer you their unsolicited advice or feedback, or who may judge you, or who may try to derail you because they don't like your idea or they don't like the fact that you have stepped into this new light. And so just always remind yourself it is normal to catch wind as you launch, as you grow, as you push the boundaries on this business idea. And if you're not catching wind, well, try to, because if you are polarizing, if you are speaking a message that you're really calling in a target audience, it should also repel people and push people away. And it should make some people say, you know what, that business is not for me, because it means that on the other spectrum, you're sharing a message that says to some people, hey, that is exactly what I need. That's what I want. So reminder, it's okay to catch wind when you get that negative feedback, when you get those naysayers. It's just a little hit to you that you're on the right path, and that you are resilient enough to push through that and to continue moving forward. So I love that quote anytime I'm feeling a little stuck. And beyond that too, again, we all know the how at this point of how to build this business. We've kind of got the visionary method as a framework. We can Google things, we can watch more YouTube videos, but you have to understand, why are you building this business? And if that is still a question for you, why do I even want to launch this challenge? Why do I want to write this ebook? Why do I want to create residual income? Why do I want to go through all this hassle to put together an online course? If you don't know that deeper why, then I worry for you over the next few months, because it'll be so easy to kind of forget about what you've accomplished thus far and why you started to do it. So you can always revisit that vision workbook that was in module, I believe it was in module 2. Or just simply pull up that Simon Sinek video that I asked you to watch, I believe, in the vision workbook. And he explains this whole concept of why it's not about what you do, it's why you do it, okay? So whether that takes writing it down 20 times, whether that takes creating some sort of vision board around it, make sure you get clear today before we officially sign off with our time together on why you're all doing what you're doing. For me, it's for these people right here. I mean, we don't have kids yet, but hopefully one day it's for the kids too. It's so that I can live life on my own terms. It's so that I can support others in feeling like whatever they want in life is possible. Whether that is more free time with your family, whether that is more travel, whether that's waking up each day and getting on an adventure. It doesn't matter what the why is, but you have to know in your heart what it is so that you can get up and work on this business, even when it's not successful, and get it to that point. So it's always a reminder for me. The how and what always comes afterwards. So why first, then you'll figure out the how and what. You are all very resourceful people. I've seen that over the last 90 days. There's always a way to figure out the how and what. Okay, so let's jump into those 5 shifts. And then I'll save some time for Q&A at the end, because I know that you're probably at a point where you do have some questions. We haven't spoken for a few weeks. And I want to make sure that we have lots and lots of time afterwards to just jam out on where you're at in your business thus far and where you need some guidance. So these 5 shifts of practicing the principles of the visionary method every single day, they are not new, but they are definitely underutilized tactics. So hopefully one of them really stands out to you and can help you to continue to grow this thing over the coming months. Okay, so shift number 1 is to think big and then think even bigger, all right? And I think a lot of you did this when you wrote your vision statements. You had this big idea that seemed kind of impossible, but I really do believe that most of you are going to hit that big vision in the next 5 years. Then what? So I want you to continue to push the boundaries on what you believe is possible in your business. Maybe right now it just seems like an online course, but what about that bigger vision of, okay, well, once the course is doing well, maybe I want to certify other teachers to teach the course. Maybe I want to make this into a worldwide retreat or a worldwide certification program. What is that next level? Because that's going to help you to see your current goal as, oh, well, that seems easy at this point, okay? So don't cap your thinking. There is no limit to what you can build this business as. As we know, mindset is one of the biggest pieces that's going to either make or break the success of our business. It's going to either lead you to seeing this as a $50,000 a year business or a $5 million a year business. What's the difference? It's the mindset that you have around that. So I really want you to think super big about what your business could look like. I always show this picture of the day that I graduated holistic nutrition school. So this was about 7 or 8 years ago. And I remember sitting around this table with my fellow students. We went out for lunch the day we wrote our final board exams, and we were all talking. And the conversation amongst the group was really about, hey, what clinic are you guys going to work at? Oh, did you sign up for an office yet? Have you started working with your one-on-one clients? And I remember that was just kind of the norm of what we all thought was possible when you graduate as a holistic nutritionist. You find an office, see a client, work one-on-one with them. And that was really it. And one of our friends, Nathan, he's in the middle on the right-hand side, he said something around the vision of, oh, well, I'm actually hoping to launch a course or an online course, and it teaches bodybuilders how to eat a vegan diet and to essentially like nourish themselves with 100% vegan foods. And he went on to share how he had created this free recipe book and that he was already attracting people from all over the world. And he was just trying to figure out how to put the finishing touches on his course. And all of us couldn't really wrap our head around this at the time. We thought, what? You're going to be working with people online who you don't even know? And this was before things like Zoom even existed. Like now, online marketing feels like it's second nature to a lot of us. But at the time, this was totally big thinking, and none of us had ever thought about that. And the conversation really stopped there because none of us knew how to think on Nathan's level, because we thought, well, I don't even know, because I wasn't planning on practicing online. And I always think of that moment of a bit of a shift happened in my own mind of, holy crap, maybe I don't want to pay an office rent. Maybe there is a way for me to expand this vision that I have to help more people to eat well, maybe I can bring it online. And a mere couple years later, I actually did. So I kind of credit Nathan to helping me to make that shift in thinking bigger, in thinking beyond the four walls that I had already boxed myself in on. And then, many years later, here I am today, like praising the online world and how amazing it is. But how do we build these big ideas and continue to nurture that belief? Because sometimes if you've already got that wall up of what's possible, then you don't really know how to think any bigger. Number one, listen to inspiring content. So whether that's podcasts or interviews on YouTube or going to conferences, put yourself in the room with people who are dreamers, people who are visionaries, people who don't smash your ideas for being too big or too impossible. The second thing is to continue to create little micro wins, right? So the mere art of showing up for the business idea that you have right now and finding those little success clues, that's going to continue to allow you to expand your belief on what is possible. So we're not waiting until we have everything perfect for that big idea, but we are working backwards and doing little things now that show us that anything we want really is within reach. The third piece of this, it sounds really obvious, but in terms of really making that vision bigger, smile, connect with people, and be positive. Be curious about how anyone got to where they are today. Learn about their story. You never know who's going to be that next key person who can support you in taking your business to the next level. I had a very, very key moment where I was sitting down at a co-working space and a guy sat down across from me. And without getting into the full stories, he literally had a key to helping me grow my business in a massive way. And just us chatting and me telling him about where I was stuck and what I was dealing with, he was able to provide me with this resource that I continue to reach out to him to this day and say, thank you so much. And I'm just so glad that I got into conversation with a stranger with no motivation or intention, but just to get to know him and where he came from. And there's just always wonderful things that can come from striking up conversations with people who intrigue you. And finally, reframe your challenges and setbacks, okay? Nothing is a failure. Everything is a learning opportunity. Everything is really a breadcrumb guiding you to that next step in your business. All right, so let's talk about shift number 2, and that is to shine bright and step out of your comfort zone. This one's tough because it's easy to stay in our comfort zone. So I like this little diagram that just shows our comfort zone and where we like to hang out, and then that whole other world outside of us of where the magic happens. And I'm sure many of you can think about a time in your life where you did something that scared you a little bit and so much growth followed it, or there was some big reward at the end of it, or some massive teachings or learnings in your life, right? Whether maybe you signed up for a yoga teacher training that you never knew you could do, or you decided to do your first public speaking gig and you had some really amazing things come from that. So it's really important to step outside of your comfort zone, if not daily, weekly, and if not weekly, monthly, okay? Give yourself a little reward each time you do something that scares you, because at the end of the day, these are the moments where the magic really does happen, where we get those hits of, okay, I'm on the right track here. So stepping outside your comfort zone, it's not easy, but looking for opportunities to do so will be your biggest teacher. Shift number 3, continue to invest in yourself. I struggled with this one for so long. I was pinching pennies in my business. I didn't want to spend the money needed on systems, on tools, on coaches, on resources. And I was telling myself, like, you're not worth it, and your business isn't at a place where you can do that. And I just had all these money stories in my head. But what I've realized is that it is vital to continue to invest in myself and to invest in the business that I see in the future. Okay. So not living in that place where I am now, but where I want to go. So never be afraid to invest in your business. This quote says, I absolutely believe that people, unless coached, never reach their maximum potential. And so whether you continue to join coaching programs or a mastermind, or you work with unofficial mentors, it is so, so important to have people or have resources in your life that continue to help you to push your boundaries forward. Coaching is one of the biggest blessings that has ever hit my business. Just to get around people who are able to accelerate me towards the goal that I am looking to achieve is absolutely something that I would encourage everyone to continue to invest in. And I mean, really no different for an athlete who's training for the Olympics who decides to hire a team of coaches, because they know that they don't have all the tools inside of them to, get themselves to a place of winning that gold medal. Now we can't all afford teams of people to be supporting our business journey, but looking for some opportunities. Maybe it's that you barter with a friend. If you know someone who's really good at email marketing and you're really good at graphic design, can you barter your services or swap them? Can you create a little network of people who are within your community who can all support one another? An accountability group or a Slack group or a text message group where you're continuing to understand each other's goals and push you towards them. The fourth shift here is to treat your business like $1 million business. So back to module 1, you're the chief visionary officer, right? So you're in charge, which is a lot of pressure, and it is a lot riding on you as the leader of your business. And so there are some things that you can do when you show up to work on this to make sure that you're treating it like it's a real entity, because it is, right? You don't need to treat this like a hobby. You don't need to treat this like it's just a little fun project that you have going on. You can absolutely treat it like it is a thriving entity and that it deserves someone showing up for it consistently and really producing results on behalf of the business. So one thing that I like to ask myself is, what needs to happen daily to make this business grow? What needs to happen weekly? What needs to happen monthly? And what needs to happen yearly? So when you see those 4 buckets, I really want you to think about, okay, in order to accomplish what I say I'd like to accomplish with this business, what needs to happen on a day-to-day basis? Okay, daily, I need to be putting out some type of marketing. That could be online, that could be in person, I could be sending an email out, but that definitely needs to happen daily. I also need to be connecting with new people daily. I need to be finding my target audience daily. If you're not doing that, then hopefully you already have a database of thousands of people, or you need to go back to this, connecting with new people daily, because without the people, you don't need to be working on your offer, right? Because you got nobody to buy it. So daily, what are those things that you need to be doing as a basic foundation? Maybe on a weekly basis, it is producing one piece of high quality content. Maybe it's following up with the people who say they're interested in your program. Maybe it's scheduling time for 2 discovery calls for people who are interested in working with you. And then on a monthly basis, what do you need to be doing? On a yearly basis, what do you need to be doing? So being that we're at the start of the year, hopefully on a yearly basis, you're thinking about writing a strategy for the year or a vision for the year. What do you hope to have accomplished in the coming 12 months? So having these all written down, for me, it's in an Excel document, but this really has me showing up for my business like it's a $1 million business, because I have things to do every single day. Even when I'm too busy, I try to open that list and just see, oh shoot, like I was supposed to put out social media posts today, but I didn't get around to it, or whatever the case is. So making sure you've got some sort of system there. And treating your business like a business also means having tough conversations. And this is something that I'm guilty. I avoid having these conversations with myself, because as a solo entrepreneur, I don't have to sit down with the boss and have a weekly meeting. I don't need to get into these conversations about, okay, well, what did you do in your 40 hours last week? Or did you follow through on that project that I assigned to you? Those things don't happen. And that's where a lot of us will fail to follow through on what we said we'd do, right? So here's what I would suggest doing. Schedule a weekly or a monthly meeting. So going back to this chart here, you should probably have monthly meetings with yourself, or maybe with your accountability partners, or maybe you call that meditation or reflection, or like dreaming time, whatever the case is. But it is important to have something like that scheduled in so that you don't avoid these conversations of saying, what did I actually accomplish in the last month? What did I accomplish yesterday? What income generating activities did I spend time on in the last week? Am I hitting the targets that I set out for myself? And when you get busy and when life picks up, these are the first questions that will just slip your radar, and you may fail to ask them to yourself. So try and find a way to have these monthly meetings or weekly meetings with yourself, just to check in, right? And shift number 5 that I want to share with you, and hopefully this one sticks with you, is to simplify in order to scale up. Simplify in order to scale up. So this can take many applications, but at its most simple iteration, I would say bringing it back to basics of what do I want to offer, and not overcomplicating that, okay? So one offer, launching it, and then worry about all those other billion ideas that you have. And then the other way I like to think about this is, if you're going to sit down and spend your very valuable time creating something, whether it's a resource or a piece of content or a piece of your program or offer, is there a way that you can produce it one time and reuse it many times, okay? So maybe that's if you write an email, then you take a piece of that email and you circulate it as a social media post that you put up on the first of every month. Or maybe it's when you write a blog post, you also record that as a podcast episode that lives on your website. Again, there's many ways to think about this, but how can you produce something once and reuse it many times? I want the efforts that you put into your business to continue to circulate around and around. And I think this is one way that you can really maximize any of the work that you do. So those are the 5 concepts. We could spend a lot more time really dissecting them, but I want you to really just choose 2 or 3 of them that really landed with you. So think bigger, shine brighter, investing in yourself, treating your business like a business, and simplifying to scale up. So knowing which one seems like a logical next step for you, which one you feel like you really need to work on, and then just jotting down 2 or 3 ways that you can apply this principle moving into the coming week, I think is going to be very beneficial. So I hope that helps to inspire you to just, continue pushing this forward and realize that it's not always about the tools and the resource, but it's oftentimes about the mindset shifts that you need to make in order to grow this thing beyond what it is today. New mindset, new results. Love that quote. One final thing that I just want to share with you all is that people don't buy your product, your program. They buy a prediction, right? It's not always about listing out all of the features and what's included in your offer and discussing all the logistical matters and talking till you're blue in the face about what they're going to learn inside the course or inside the ebook or inside the challenge or inside the program itself. Because what they're really buying into is a prediction that there's a transformation inside the offer that you've created. Hopefully, when you decided to join the Visionary Method and create this offer with a vision to get it into the hands of many, many people, you had an idea of how you could help to transform somebody's life, right? And when you get those first few clients or those next 10 clients, it's likely that they're not buying this entity that you've created. They're not buying this non-tangible thing that they see on the internet. They're literally buying a prediction that you have a tool to change their life. And so when you communicate what your offer is and you craft all your marketing materials, I want you to remember to really hone in on that. What is that transformation? How do you help them to evolve from where they are now to where they want to be? Okay. They're buying a prediction that there is change inside your offer, a change that's either going to move them towards a more pleasant state or move them away from the state that they really don't want to be in right now, right? So either you're helping to move them away from fear or towards a better life. So really focusing a lot of the way you communicate around that rather than about the contents and the bones and the features of what it is that you're creating, because that doesn't really resonate with people, but a transformation does. And of course, it would be unfair for me to not stop here and just say, like, don't forget to reflect on how far you've come in this course. We started back in September, which is crazy. But think about what you were doing back then and what your vision was and what your ideas were. And I'm assuming that you've accomplished a lot. A lot has changed. A lot has been ticked off that to-do list in order to bring this to life. And yes, there is still more to be done. Yes, it would be great if we had more time together and could, continue along the path of going through the course together. But you have come a long way, and I want you to celebrate that and just give yourself that grace of knowing that it doesn't always happen in this perfect linear trajectory, and that wherever you have landed right now is amazing, and that there's an opportunity to obviously continue to grow and to nurture this business into whatever you want it to be. When you all signed up for the course, you got a podcast segment with me. So I want to offer that up to everybody. If you are interested in recording a podcast segment with me, I would love for you to book that in before June of 2020. So that gives you a 6-month timeline. I know for some people, it's not the right time to maybe jump on and talk about your business and share with us what you've done. But please book it before that date. Otherwise, the offer will expire just because obviously I need to manage the amount of people requesting at various quarters and periods throughout the year. So would love to chat with you. We can either do it on Zoom, or if we're lucky enough to be able to do it in person, we can do that as well. But the goal behind offering you this segment is to allow you to share your offer and your business, your new brand, with all of my listeners. So potentially there are some people tucked in my audience who would love to learn about the services and the offers that you have. So I really want to give you that exposure if you are interested. And obviously this is optional, not mandatory. Okay, so what's next? We've reached the end of our program. What do we do? So number one, time to trust your gut and start taking even more action. I know most of you are already in action. You're doing the things, but keep on that process. Do not stop. Go all in on what you think is possible, okay? Your idea is not crazy. Your vision to get 100 people through your program is not out of reach. Your goal to make $100,000 in 2020 is not impossible if you're all in. And I don't mean all in by quit your job and go all in on this. I mean being fiercely committed to what you think you can do, right? New mindset, new results. So get that mindset in check and watch the results funnel in. It's honestly, it's amazing. When you commit to that vision and you go for it, you will see big, big, big exponential results. And of course, if you ever need support, I'm here for you. If you have just random questions, shoot them to me anytime. But if you do feel like you need more support, I do offer a discount on all private coaching to any past student. So we can always talk about that if you feel like you need extra time with me. And have a dance party with yourself when you feel stuck. And this is the song that I would recommend. I've been playing it loud the past few days. It's so inspiring. It makes me want to sit down at my computer and really recommit to what it is that I'm doing. So whatever song gets you fired up, sometimes we just need a little shakeout, and music for me is something that it really set me in that headspace of, okay, kick the funky mood. Let's get back to what I believe in. Let's get back into a routine and to making impact and really recommitting to the goals that I set out for 2020. So whatever helps you shake that state and just get into that visionary mindset, make sure you find that, because it's always possible. If you are a Tony Robbins fan, he always talks about movement to shift your state. And it worked for me this morning. So hopefully I can pass along this song and get some of you inspired to attack the day and a few more of the goals on your to-do list. Okay, so we still have some time. And so I think what's best here is that if you have any questions with relation to where you're headed, or if it's a specific tactical question about what was getting you hung up in one of the modules, it's just going to be open floor here. So feel free to unmute yourself, and this is just time for you guys to create conversation or ask questions, whatever you want to use the time for. Or someone could give us a business update, where you're at, what you're thinking in terms of like launch timelines. Maybe you want to know if it's realistic or not.
Okay, I'll go first.
Awesome.
So good news. I announced it earlier, but I'm going to let everyone know. So I purchased my insurance for as a yoga instructor this morning.
Yay!
Excited about that. Yep. And I'm doing that class this afternoon for my neighbors. So that's going to be a good thing. But as far as my goals, and I want to just run this by you. I think I mentioned it in the year planning workshop, but it was to basically do the testing around Zoom classes, some pre-recorded classes, then build up my website, which I still haven't done, and launch for like spring, to have the 90-day program for spring. Is that,
Yep.
am I way in over my head? Like with my freelance, I don't know if they'll call me and they'll say, okay, we want you back in January, and it might be a 2-month gig. And again, it will be like very consuming. And so if that's the case, how do I, is it a question of constantly reevaluating my goals and just being really flexible? And as well as having those like consistent power hours, which
Mm-hmm.
are not easy to do once I'm on freelance mode. The long commute from Pickering to Mississauga, the long days, and then just still attending my own yoga classes for my own training, and
Yeah.
teaching my weekly class. And then to add to that, I'm going to start doing those one-on-one classes at the local clinic. I just feel, and then there's just, regular life of, downtime and house chores. And am I
Mm-hmm.
just going to completely overload myself? How do I create something that's more realistic?
Okay, I'm going to, yes, let's whiteboard this. Can everyone see the whiteboard?
And I do have a tendency to overload myself naturally. So where's that sweet spot between having goals and not overdoing it?
So your goal is a spring 2020 launch of your online course.
Yes.
And what do you mean by spring? Let's get what would be the ideal time for you? Date wise.
March or April.
Okay, so I'll say April 1, 2020.
Okay.
And you're saying a couple of the key pieces that aren't done yet are the website, right?
Yes.
What else?
The testing out Zoom calls, Zoom yoga classes, and
Okay.
and seeing whether I should just offer Zoom classes or I should do a combination of Zoom classes and pre-recorded classes like I originally thought.
Okay. So it's really just a question of like, I guess how to teach it, right? Anything else that feels like a barrier between you and launching this, like some key things that aren't yet?
I don't have an audience right now other than my own personal Facebook audience. I don't have like an email list, or I have a Facebook profile, an Instagram profile, but I haven't really put up any yoga related content of my own.
Definitely. Okay. So I am going to go back to that principle from the visionary method of simplifying in order to scale up. Because I really want to make this process of you getting to your first launch really, really simple. So obviously, when I look at this list, website, figuring out the how-tos of your course, the email list, social media, yeah, a lot of that, like those are big pillars and it can feel a little bit daunting. But I think we break them down into more micro actions of daily and weekly. We'll be able to get you to a point where you actually could launch this program on April 1st. So instead of building a whole website, if that is feeling like it might not be possible in order to get you to that April 1st launch, what I would do is instead build a landing page, okay? Landing page is one simple page that lives online, and it is likely just going to communicate like what the program is, the price, the how, what, why. So
like sales page.
Exactly, a sales page. And that can still share a little bit more about you at the bottom, but it's going to take away that overwhelm of building an entire website. I can send you examples of landing pages, but yeah, I would only keep in mind, you just want to get that landing page live.
Okay,
There are
great.
many ways to do that. You can either use lead pages or you can build it on your website and just have a single page. With the how-to, I would just decide based on asking some of your dream clients what they would prefer, and just decide to run ahead with one way of teaching the course. And if you have to modify it for the second round of the course or the third round, that's fine, but just have some conversations with people and just get a feel for what they might want. Do a little survey and let's just go with what in your gut feels like the best way to carry out this program, because you know best how your students will hopefully respond to the content of the course. With the email list, I absolutely want you to start collecting emails. So at its most basic, finish that freebie that you can offer. And then I want you to email your friends and family and say, hey, I created this really cool resource. If you want to grab it, download it from me here. And then you're going to start sharing that on your Facebook or on your Instagram or with your colleagues or anywhere else where you can get that out, because that builds an email list. Give away something for free, collect emails.
Okay.
And then in terms of social media, because you have a vision of a spring launch, I would use these next 3 months to start posting, whether it's 1 or 2 times weekly, with content related to your offer. So really just sharing like the behind the scenes, right? Either I'm putting together this course, or here's a pose that we do in my course, or here's a book that I read and I'm infusing into the course. Here's a yoga class that I'm attending in order to make the course better for you. So just how can you create any sort of content that funnels people into wondering, oh, what's she building?
Okay. Sounds good.
So, yeah, hopefully that helps to just simplify a little bit. But I think an spring launch date is 1000% possible for you, no matter if you're extremely busy with your freelance or not. I think sticking to that date, and of course, if you have to change, fine. But no matter how much free time or busyness we have, we always work to, just make sure that we can accomplish. I don't know what I'm trying to say here. We basically expand our workload to the free time that we have or contract it. So you will find
right. Okay. Yes. Okay, that's great. Thanks so much. That's very helpful.
Yeah, no problem. Anyone else?
I have a question.
Sorry, go ahead. I'll wait.
Okay.
Camille, then Jennifer.
I just wanted to ask, because I've been marketing myself for one-on-one client servicing, because right now that's my main source of income. But then how do I transition to the digital product that I eventually want to lessen my one-on-one client servicing and just really have the digital sale be not really my main, but maybe 50-50 of my business will be composed of the digital sale. So how do I transition to that?
Mm-hmm.
Do I continue to market myself as an interior designer to work on renovations, or do I just start to let those posts peter out and then start promoting this? Would it feel alienating to my existing market, or I just need advice on that part, because I don't know how to mix my posts and my emails on that aspect.
Number one, I would say use a PS in a lot of your emails. So you know how some people write emails and then it's like at the bottom PS? The PS area at the bottom is the most valuable real estate in an email. So I would continue to send out your one-to-one client service emails. And then in the PS, I would be sharing about the new project that you're working on and hopefully collecting people over to learn more or to join a wait list for your digital offer, right? So they read through the email, they get their value, and then, oh, PS, oh, she's creating this amazing, okay, I want to learn more. And they click to find it. So you're starting to introduce the idea. You can also do that in social media posts. Second, like I'm assuming like your one-to-one client service, is it a totally different target market than your digital offer, or is there some overlap?
There is some overlap, but of course, my one-on-one clients, they're all looking for someone to help them through an entire renovation. And that's something that I want to do less of.
Of course.
So,
yeah, absolutely. So it's likely that either there are people who want your one-to-one client services, but they can't afford you, or your clients who are willing to pay for you, they know people who can't afford your services, right? And in your business, referrals are probably a big chunk of how you get clients. So launching this digital offer is essentially a more affordable way that people can get a piece of Camille, right? So it is actually vital that you do launch this, because there are probably people who have looked at your pricing and just say, you know what, I can't afford that, but I like what she's doing and I would like to see more about how I can accomplish the transformation without hiring Camille. So you're not confusing people at this point. You're not doing them a disservice by launching this lower offer. You're actually just calling in a different subset of people who are already on board with your brand, who just simply can't afford or don't want to hire you full time. So I would just start sprinkling it in, because the audiences, there will be some overlap, and letting people know that you do have this lower price point offer that comes in a totally different format.
Thank you. That was helpful.
Yeah, no problem. Jennifer, do you want to unmute?
Yeah. I really liked Olivera's question, because it's kind of something I've been grappling with as well, in terms of like launching and what's realistic. And we kind of went over a bit of that. I think it was Monday at the live thing at your place. But I have a question, because my program is going to be free in the first maybe 1 or 2 iterations. In terms of collecting emails for even the free offer, right? Like, I have like another small little freebie PDF download or something like that, with like a checklist or something like that, in order to funnel people into another free program? I do have an extremely small, like sub 50 email list of my current doTERRA customers. Like, I could potentially do like a PS at the bottom of that.
Yeah.
But I don't, and other than that, like, I don't email people that aren't already customers. So I don't know. I just don't know how I'm going to build that, that list up.
Yeah. So, let's simplify it here. I don't think you need to create another freebie. At the top of your funnel right here is your free challenge. So you want to get people into the free challenge. So all you're doing is you are creating a landing page that invites them to join. Okay. And then they, and then they join the free challenge. So you're going to get people who enroll in this email list. And then from there, you're going to obviously run the challenge and then continue to nurture this list. And then from there, it's literally going to be launch a paid offer to the same list. Is that kind of your question? I don't think you would create any more free stuff.
Yeah.
I think your free challenge is the incentive for people to say, I'm in.
Okay, I guess now my question is going to be like, what the heck is going to be my paid offer? I mean, ideally I would like to do it like online, and a group, because I don't feel confident to do any kind of one-on-one
Mm-hmm.
things like that.
Yeah.
So I'm just wondering what like the 2.0 version of that could be, or if I should just leave that as with testimonials and then do like another small freebie and then launch a paid
Mm-hmm.
version.
So I think I worry in your case that maybe thinking about your paid offer right now is getting you a little bit tripped up. So
Mm-hmm.
I would actually, in your situation, not worry about what the paid offer is going to be quite yet. And instead just focus on making a really awesome free challenge that pours value into, everything about the chakras and self-care and all that stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And get into good conversation with the people who do join the free challenge and really start to understand who those people are and what they would benefit from if they were to want a 2.0. So maybe wait until you go call in those people and run the challenge so that you can actually talk to someone about what you want. Because at this point, it is very conceptual.
Mm-hmm.
And of course, there are a million ways you could run a paid offer. You could do a course, you could do coaching, an ebook, you could do a workshop, a retreat, a mastermind series. Like there's so many different ways we can position it. But I think it would be best for you to actually just go forward with this free challenge, find out who's in it, and then really think about what they would want as a paid offer.
Okay. And I had another question, but I just forgot.
That's okay. You think of it.
Okay.
But yeah, like again, back to basics. So just get that landing page up, invite people to the challenge, teach them, like really just pour into everything you want to share with them. And then maybe that will bring you clarity on, hey, that went really well. I should do more via Zoom teaching people. Or I love talking about this, so maybe I should be writing more about this.
Okay. I remember my question now. I'm just wondering, like, since it's free, would you recommend, like, I was just thinking to have like a downloadable PDF, but would you advise or suggest I perhaps maybe have a Facebook group or like do some kind of like live stuff with people?
Yeah, I would. Yeah, think about if you've ever joined a challenge before and what components it had to it. Was there a community piece? Like, how did we pull people together? Was there like a resource that I was equipped with right away?
Mm-hmm.
And like what? So at the end of the day, I just want you to think, what would help people to achieve the transformation that I'm promising? Do they need that live coaching? Do they need the community?
Okay. Alrighty. Thanks.
Could you give a list of what freebies could be, says Olivera? Yeah, absolutely. So when you're thinking about what a freebie is for your offer, it should be something that gives people a quick win or a quick success that is almost like a prequel to your offer, right?
Okay.
So for me, I am teaching a course on how to build your business. And it takes people from step one to, having their business live. So my freebie is all a challenge to explore the ideas in your head to see if they can become an income. So I do like a prequel challenge, Olivera, or a prequel freebie that helps people determine whether they even have an idea. And then that can logically lead them into, okay, well, I do have an idea. Maybe I should join the visionary method. So I do my freebie as a free challenge. I invite people into a Facebook group and I coach them for 3 days on exploring their ideas. A freebie could be a free download, like a downloadable resource. A freebie could be a free audio training or a free video training that you've prepared to kind of show people, like, here's where your problem is, here's why you need to join my program. But a freebie doesn't have to be easy. So those would be some ideas of what you could do then to do a freebie for your offer.
Okay, thanks.
I know we're a little over time, so if anyone has to go, I totally understand. Any other questions? Want to bring anything up?
Just one last question to the group. Is it possible to like test our Facebook group and some ideas, or if ever I come up with something, is it possible to run it through you guys just to get just to get your comments on stuff that I create? Thank you.
I would say definite yes. I will to continue to watch. And I think, again, like we've already got this group created, you have a certain level of trust with each other. With previous classes, I have encouraged them, and they've followed through in maybe setting up your own Zoom meetings in the future. So if one of you wanted to take the lead on organizing a meeting for February, maybe like the first week of February, just as a catch-up, or end of January. And if you need structure for how to run that, I can absolutely give you a resource. But I would just do a quick roundtable where everyone has like 7 or 8 minutes to present where they're at, what's one challenge that they're currently facing, and what advice they need in order to overcome that challenge. And everyone gets their time to speak. And then at the end, you can kind of like address the challenges and see where you can support one another.
I was thinking more of on that note, I think that something like a mastermind, would that work like that? So if anyone is willing and free in the following months until we launch our products, then let's just connect on the Facebook group.
Yeah. I think that's a really good idea, just to have some level of support, because some of you may not have anyone else who is able to guide you in your business right now. And like I talk about this all the time, it's a very lonely journey. And it's challenging when it's just you, yourself, and you trying to bring this idea to life. So I really like the idea of you guys continuing to support one another and strategize and kind of have a monthly meeting, at least for a couple months. All right. Well, if anyone needs anything after today, you know where to find me. You can always send me a Voxer message or email me or comment in the Facebook group. But I am so excited to see where you head, right? And if there's any way that this crew can support one another and helping you bring your idea to life, then please take advantage, because we all have been with each other since the birth of these ideas, basically. And there's nothing that I want more, and I'm sure everyone can echo the sentiment that we want to see you launch, right? That is why you're here, is to deliver this offer to as many people as possible and to impact lives. So however we can get you to that finish line, I know all of us here are rooting for you. So thank you so much for all your dedication and your time over the last few months. It's been amazing to watch everyone's evolution, and I've loved getting to know you all. And I'm just very grateful that this group got along so well, and that you were all such amazing humans and showed up to these calls with the questions and amazing ideas. And so I appreciate each and every one of you. So I hope you have a really good start to January. And if there's anything that I can do to support you, you know where to find me. So thanks, everybody.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. Okay.
You're welcome. Bye. Well, stay in touch.
Bye.
Bye.
Thanks, everyone.
Bye.
Bye.